Hello there, it's Samantha. Welcome back to my channel. Or here, hi, my name is Samantha and this is my channel where I talk all about books. Today I'm going to you with an Unhaul video. I haven't done one of these in a while. Well, actually I did one back in January, but it was a pretty small one. I think I only got rid of like 10 books or something like that. It was pretty small, but I haven't done like a proper deep clean in quite a while. And actually I didn't have a lot of my books with me because a couple of years ago we moved and I had to leave a lot of my stuff in storage. That was a lot of my books. So recently I went and got all of those books out of storage so that I could go through them and get rid of the ones which I knew either I was never going to get to or I was never going to reread, or just books that I just don't like. And this is what we've got. A lot. I think it's over 30. There are just an awful lot of them. So yes, I really don't want to talk too much in this intro and just get on with it. I also have a couple of DVDs to get rid of. I don't really know why I still have DVDs. So the first DVD that I'm getting rid of is Beauty and the Beast. This is the live action version. A friend of mine gave this to me a couple of years ago because I used to be absolutely obsessed with the movie. I will probably give it a rewatch before I get rid of it. But yes, this is the first one. I also have The Fault in Our Stars. I used to be obsessed with this movie, but not so much anymore. The Hunger Games and Catching Fire. Great movies, but I will watch these on Netflix or wherever else I can find them. And I also have Parks and Rec Season 1 and Season 2. So there's some DVDs that I'm getting rid of, and I will donate these to my library because I know that they often have DVDs available for borrowing. Oh, I have 2 more DVDs. I'm also getting rid of Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas and this edition of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which is actually the Canadian edition, so it doesn't even work in the UK. Great. I don't know how I ended up with that. Next I have 3 books which I got for school, which I don't need anymore. First one is A History of Spain by Simon Barton. I used this in my first year of university and I found it to be incredibly boring. As much as I am interested in the history of Spain, this was not the way to learn about it. On that same note, I have Spain, A History by Raymond Carr. Again, it wasn't particularly interesting. This one was also not particularly interesting. I think this was more interesting than this, but still not particularly interesting, so I'll probably put these on eBay or something. And I also have this book, which is a Spanish textbook, but I'm actually not a B2 level anymore. I'm a C1 level, bitches. So I don't need this anymore. So those are all the random things. Now let's get on to the books, things you're actually interested in seeing. So the first book that I'm getting rid of is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. I really enjoyed this book, but I just don't think I'll ever reread it. Also, my friend Evie is interested in this one, so I'm gonna give it to her. I do really enjoy Adam Silvera's books, although I actually haven't read Infinity Sun yet and I'm very scared to do so. But yeah, this was a good book, but it's just not something I'll ever reread. Next I have Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This is a book that I bought when it was super hyped and I just never got to it, and I tweeted out a while ago if this is worth reading, and Cassie from Sass Cassie told me that no, it's nothing new, so I just don't think I'll ever get to it. And if I do want to get to it, I actually just joined a library and I saw that they actually have ebooks of all of the series, I think. So if I ever do feel the urge to read it, I'll pick it up from the library. Next I'm getting rid of Paper Towns by John Green. I've just really kind of outgrown like the old school John Green books, I think. And this was always my least favorite of the ones that I read by him. But actually I have read this book twice, and the second time I enjoyed it a lot more. I'm never gonna reread it, so I might as well donate it to the library. Next I have The Shadowhunters Codex by Cassandra Clare and Joshua Lewis. I'm a huge fan of the Mortal Instruments and I did actually really enjoy my time reading this, but I just know that I'll never flip through it again. As much as I do love the fact that it's kind of like a collector's item sort of book, I don't think I have any need for this and I just don't have room for it. Next book I'm getting rid of is My True Love Gave to Me, which is a collection of 12 short holiday stories put together by Stephanie Perkins. This was huge back in 2014, I think that's when it came out, and I read all the stories that year. I enjoyed some of them, but some of them I didn't enjoy. I'm not really that much of a fan of short stories. Like, I won't reread them particularly, but like I enjoy reading them at the time, but it's not really something that I go back to. So I'm getting rid of this one, even though it's really pretty. But I mean, the hot pink pages, that was an interesting choice. The next book that I'm getting rid of is What I Thought Was True by Huntley Fitzpatrick. I read this book quite a few years ago. I enjoyed it. I picked this up after I read her first book, which is My Life Next Door. I enjoyed this, but I think I only gave it like a 3.5 out of 5 stars. So I just think that if I reread it now, I probably wouldn't enjoy it. But it is a shame to get rid of this because it's so pretty. Next I'm getting rid of The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. I enjoyed this at the time, but I recently read The Cruel Prince and I really didn't enjoy it. So I just think that Holly Black's writing style isn't particularly for me, so I don't think I would enjoy this upon rereading it. The next book that I'm getting rid of is The Duff by Cody Keplinger. I enjoyed this book a lot, actually. This book got a lot of hate and very mixed reviews, but I actually really enjoyed it, but I know I'm not going to reread it, so I'm going to get rid of this one too. The next book I'm getting rid of is Ignite by Lily Parody. I really enjoyed this book when I read it at the time, but I think now I really wouldn't like it particularly, and it's just not something I'm ever going to reread. I do actually have a review of this book, so I'll link it in the card, whichever side it is, if you want to go check that out. But yes, I'm kind of sad getting rid of this one though, because I know that her books are all out of print now, so it's really hard to come by them. The next book that I'm getting rid of is 4 by Veronica Roth. This is a collection of 4 short stories from the point of view of 4. I was a diehard Divergent fan at the time, but honestly, I have such bad memories tied to Allegiant that I'm just like, nah. So I actually got rid of Insurgent and Allegiant a couple of years ago, but I held on to this one thinking that I might reread it at some point, but I won't. But I do still have Divergent, and I do think I will reread it at some point. But yeah, this I just know I'm not going to reread, so this is going to. The next 3 books that I'm getting rid of are The Iron Trial, The Copper Gauntlet, and The Bronze Key, the first 3 books in the Magisterium series by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare. I read this book a long time ago. I actually got a review copy from NetGalley, which was like the coolest. And then a couple years afterwards, I picked up these 2. Honestly, I can't tell you what happened in this book. Like, I have no memory of what happened at all. And it was good, but I don't really read that much middle grade, and honestly, I've heard kind of negative things about the end of this series, like books 4 and 5, so I just don't really feel like reading these 3 books to then get to 2 books that I probably won't like, you know? The next book I'm getting rid of is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I feel like I don't really need to give a reason why I'm getting rid of this. This book is problematic. I enjoyed it when I read it, but I just know that I'll never reread it, and I know that it is problematic, so I just don't want this book. The next book that I'm getting rid of is this tiny little book. This is called The Hunting of the Snark by Lewis Carroll, the author of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. This is actually a little poem, and I just don't need it. It's tiny, so I could keep it, but I don't know. I don't really see the point in keeping it. I don't really have anything to say. The next 4 books I'm getting rid of are all part of a series. I enjoyed this series at the time, but I never finished it, and I know that I never will. Also, I've read other books by this author, and they just haven't been my cup of tea, so I just really don't know if her writing style is for me. But they are Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, and Fairest, all by Marissa Meyer. These are the first 3 books, and then the novella in the Lunar Chronicles series. So yeah, getting rid of these. The next one I'm getting rid of is Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. I started reading this a long time ago, and I think I got like 60 pages in, and then there was actually an issue with the copy that I got where it then repeated the first 30 pages again, so it was missing 30 pages of the book. I couldn't then continue on with that book, but at the time I wasn't enjoying it that much, and I've heard that this book is just super weird, but I think the audiobook might be a better way to go with this one, so I might pick up the audiobook at some point if I can get it from the library or something, but I don't want to hold on to this anymore. The next book that I'm getting rid of is Summer Days and Summer Nights. This is the same sort of dealio as My True Love Gave to Me, where it is 12 short stories, all edited together by Stephanie Perkins. I read like the first 3 stories from this book, I think, but as I said, I'm not really into short stories, and I've heard that they're just not very good, so this is going to. The next book I'm getting rid of is one that I actually really enjoyed, but that is I Was Here by Gail Foreman. I just know that I'm never going to reread this, and I think someone else could get something good out of this, so this is going. Another one that I really enjoyed, but I know that I probably won't reread it, and I think other people could get a lot from, is Moxie by Jennifer Matthew. I read this back in 2018. I absolutely loved it, but I know that I probably won't reread this anytime soon, and I think that this would be a really good one to give to the library. The next 2 books that I'm getting rid of are kind of your average coffee table books, which I don't really need, and that is How It Works the Cat and The Mills and Boone Modern Girl's Guide to Happy Hour. I've used both of these books during readathons. I have actually read both of them, and whilst they're funny, I just really don't think that I have any need to hold on to them. The next book I'm getting rid of is The Selection by Kira Cass. I actually got all 3 of the books from this trilogy. Yes, I'm calling it a trilogy because the other 2 books are shit. I got all 3 books of this trilogy for review from NetGalley, so I have e-copies of every single one of them. So I really don't have any need for this because I just don't think I'm gonna reread it anytime soon. The next book I'm getting rid of is Because You Love to Hate Me by a whole bunch of authors and edited by Anne-Marie. This book is really cool because it's a collection of 13 short stories about villains, and basically it was a collaboration with 13 booktubers, so each booktuber gave the author a prompt and then they had to write a short story based off that prompt. So it was a really cool concept, and I really enjoyed a lot of these stories because I actually really do love villain stories, but it's the same with the other ones. I'm never going to reread it, so I think that it would be better if I donated this. The next 2 books that I'm getting rid of are the first 2 books in a series, and those are The Dark Days Club and The Dark Days Pact by Alison Goodman. I read this back in March, and I did really enjoy it. I think I gave it a 3.75 out of 5 stars, but it was quite slow, and I just don't know when I'm going to get to this. It actually was on my library website the other day, and they have all 3 available in ebook format, so I think that I will just read them via ebook if I feel like it, but honestly, I just don't think I will continue on with this series. The next book that I'm getting rid of is Into the Crooked Place by Alexandra Christo. This was a very disappointing read for me, so this is going to a new home. The next book that I'm getting rid of is one that I haven't read. It doesn't have particularly good reviews on Goodreads, and I really just don't feel like it's something that I'll pick up anytime soon. It's one that I got from a subscription box. But that is This Is Where the World Ends by Amy Zhang. I just really don't think I'll read it. Next, I'm getting rid of More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. Again, this is a book that I really loved, but I feel like this would be more beneficial going to the library than me holding on to it, because I just don't think I'm going to reread it anytime soon. Also, I really love the UK edition of this, so if I would rebuy it, I would rebuy the UK edition over this. Not that this isn't pretty, but yeah. The next book I'm getting rid of is this copy of City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, the first book in the Mortal Instruments series. I bought the 10th anniversary edition a couple of years ago when it came out, so I just don't need this particular copy because it's not very attractive, so this is going. The next one I'm getting rid of was another one that I really didn't like. It was a massive disappointment, and that was Night Film by Marisha Pessl. I read this in April and I really didn't like it, so I'll link my wrap up down below in case you're interested, but yeah. Kind of sucked. I'm getting rid of it. And finally, the last two books I'm getting rid of are such a shame because they're so pretty. Like, honestly, these are gorgeous books. But that is Passenger and Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken. These are the two books in the Passenger duology. I paid like so much money to get the hardcovers, and I didn't even like the first book that much. And then I still picked up the second book, which is such a stupid decision on my part. But look how beautiful this is. Honestly, such a shame. I really thought I would love it because it's got time travel and stuff, which I think is really cool. But this was like just a 3-star book for me, and yet I still picked up Wayfarer, which is even prettier. It's so beautiful, but I know that I'm never going to read this. I would also have to reread Passenger because I forgot everything that happened, and I've heard that this one is even worse than the first, so I'm definitely getting rid of these two books, which is a shame, but you know, it happens. You buy books that you think you're going to like, and then you get rid of them. Those are all of the books that I'm getting rid of. There's a lot of them. But yes, that is all I have for today's video, so I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe down below. If you've read any of the books that I haven't read and you think I really should give them a go, let me know. I'll probably get rid of them anyway. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye. By Huntley Pitts. I don't know why I can never say her name. The next book that I'm getting rid of is Libba Bray. No. The next